Greetings of peace. What is going on, guys? I'm gonna jump straight into the news. Well, this shouldn't be news to you, but if you've been living under a rock or you listen to people like Alex Jones, Michael Savage, Fox News, Paul Joseph Watson, Rebel Media, or even the mainstream media, they won't really touch upon this. Because remember, I'll give you guys an analogy real quick before I even jump into this. So, this topic that's obvious. Donald Trump is a war criminal. This topic is obvious. He's committed war crimes. But before I go on, this is an analogy that represents the right and the left and mainstream media and alternative media. One side's claiming 2 plus 2 is 3. The other side's claiming 2 plus 2 is 5. Both sides are wrong. We know 2 plus 2 is equal 4. And again, I'm just going to straight up say this before I continue on to the rest of this video. I'm not right wing or left wing, so please, if you're going to try to rebuttal what I say, try to use logic and facts. Don't just say, oh, this is a left wing agenda or a right wing agenda. No, side with the truth. It's as simple as that. But back to what I was saying. Donald Trump is a war criminal. He's increased drone strikes at a rate of 432%. And remember, Barack Obama had a 90% civilian casualty rate, which is pretty much murdering innocent people. As much as you want to say casualty of war, no, it's murdering innocent civilians. And just like how they use propaganda and words to mess with stuff like National Defense Authorization Act, no, there's nothing defensive about it. Or the Department of War got changed to the Department of Defense. I understand if you're actually defending, but these people are transgressing and oppressing. And then there's other ways they use words when they're passing bills and stuff. They'll say Freedom Act, blah 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 blah, but it just means the opposite of what it says, ironically. And I remember people who voted for Donald Trump, one of the main reasons is claiming he wasn't gonna start World War III or something like that, or he was gonna put America first and not go into Syria. Well, he just sent 1,000 troops into Syria, and he's gonna increase the number of soldiers in Afghanistan. So I remember people were attacking Hillary Clinton, but Donald Trump does the same thing. And here's the hypocrisy. And I'm just gonna go with the right wing because I see this a lot from evangelical Christians, especially of European descent. They attacked Barack Obama, making fun of his wife Michelle Obama, making dirty accusations about her, claiming she's a tranny, and then they'd make nasty accusations about Barack Obama and lying about him, claiming he's a Muslim, even though he attacked 7 majority Muslim countries, which again, how does that make sense? And then they had pastors and end-time conspiracy channels claiming he's the Muslim Messiah or he's Imam Mahdi and all this other fake stuff. And guess what? He's not even president anymore. It didn't happen. And then you had people like Alex Jones claiming he was going to put everyone into FEMA camps. These people lied. But back to my point. More proof Donald Trump is a war criminal. He claimed that he's going to attack the family of terrorists. So why would you go after innocent civilians on purpose? I'll give you guys an example. Yeah, go after the terrorists, but why would you go after their family who hasn't done anything? I'll give you guys an example. Dylan Roof. He's a terrorist. He went into a church and shot up innocent black people. And can you imagine if the U.S. military went in and arrested and drone striked his entire family? What did his family do? Again, I'm using this analogy because so they can people who are hateful can relate to it. And then you have these Christian crusaders, as they call themselves, in Trump's cabinet, or I should say, in the Republican Party. The Democratic Party does it too, but they do it covertly, whereas the Republicans do it overtly. You have these people claiming they're Christians. Again, these people are hateful people. They don't follow Jesus. They don't turn the other cheek. They melt people's cheeks off with bombs. And I'll give you guys a classic example. Ted Cruz claims to be pro-constitutionalist. Well, he just voted against your privacies in this internet bill that allows ISPs to sell your information to corporations and stuff. And he claims he's constitutionalist. Well, that's against the Fourth Amendment. And then he tries to spew out Christian values. And this is the same guy who claimed he will carpet bomb the Middle East till sand glows. And then we go to Donald Trump's defense secretary, Mad Dog Mattis. Again, the reason they call him Mad Dog Mattis is because this guy's a mad dog. Literally, he's a dog. He's a scum, and he's mad. And I'll give you guys some proof. This guy's a war criminal. What he did was, I'm just gonna go through it. He said it's fun to shoot people. That's literally what Mad Dog Mattis said. He used white phosphorus in Iraq. Okay, let's see what else did he do. He said to shoot unidentified Afghan man because they beat their wives. So again, he generalized about a group of people, and then he did bigotry, and then he committed war crimes. So again, his pick is mentally ill. And then not only you know what, I'll just turn this into a video called What the So-Called Truth Movement. These people who say words like woke or red pill. Again, these people are losers. Or InfoWars, Breitbart News. Again, Breitbart News tried defending the idea of ISPs, internet service providers, selling your information to corporation. Which again, they claim to be a constitutionalist. These people are ridiculous, and they're funded by Goldman Sachs. And speaking of Goldman Sachs, Donald Trump's cabinet. Let's see. His chief economic advisor was the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Gary Cohen, who got, I think, over $100 million or maybe $245 million dollars from Goldman Sachs after he left. And then he picked Steve Mnuchin, who's also from Goldman Sachs, as Secretary of Treasury, who there was faulty paperwork because of this bank he had or something. One West Bank or some bank he made. And some old grandma owed 27 cents because of faulty paperwork, and they took her house. Again, you see what kind of cruel people these guys are. And then they claim all these wars are for oil, and it's not. It's much more than that. But for the sake of argument, if we use that as the pretext that people are claiming, he picked the former CEO of ExxonMobil, Rex Tillerson. So again, we see them talking about Russian oligarchs and stuff. Well, there are also oligarchs, or I should say, rich people trying to who have evil agendas. Then you see his Department of Education, Betsy DeVos, who's just a nasty fundamentalist, whose brother is Eric Prince, and his brother is the founder or one of the founders of Blackwater, and they called themselves crusaders, and they will kill innocent civilians and stuff, and they committed war crimes, and they claimed they were doing a crusade in the Middle East or something. So these people, they're just nasty and sick people. But back to Donald Trump. So according to reports, he broke the record of number of civilians killed ever since the situation in Syria for the U.S., and it was in the month of March of 2017. And this video was released in April 1st, 2017. And I'm gonna sum the video up here. I'm gonna end it with this. We see Donald Trump was a con. He lied to you guys. And just here, I'll give you guys an example. Next time an event happens, notice Trump's reaction. He truly does not care, and he will politicize events. And again, a lot of news channels, especially Fox News, they do this. Innocent person dies, and they really don't care. They do selective journalism. They won't cover certain stories. If it's maybe people, see, I'll put it this way. If it's a white guy that does it, they'll claim they have mental illness. But if a black person does it, they'll call him thug. If it's a Hispanic that does it, they'll say it's stronger borders. And then if it's a Middle Eastern person or Muslim, they'll start talking about terrorism, and they'll bring so-called experts of Islam who don't even know what they're talking about. But notice how Donald Trump politicizes events and how he doesn't care, and reflect upon this, guys. And this is stuff these so-called truthers, they won't tell you about, because A, they're paid off, B, they're shells, C, they're delusional, D, they have they want to push a certain agenda covertly, or they're just COINTELPRO or something like that, or they're just paid to spew out misinformation. But reflect upon that, guys. Peace.